Pittsburgh Sports Line. We have another good show for you tonight. Unfortunately, Chip Hayner is not able to be with us tonight. Our best wishes go out to him and his family. I'm Mike Migliori. We do have Smoking Jim Frazier and Al Levine, the Talking Machine. And we will start out, as we usually do, with What's on Your Mind. Al, what's on your mind?
What's on my mind is I forgot to invite you guys to a record-setting largest hug in a tent at Schenley Plaza. You can go to recordsetters.com. Because of the Techno Granny organizing all this, we set a record hug in a tent. 73 people hugging in a tent.
Wow.
At Schenley Plaza. They're under their big tent.
Wow.
We had fun, frivolity, all kind of stuff like that. Sam's Club supplied great cupcakes. Not as good as Bethel Park, I must tell you, but it did rival the Bethel Park Bakery, only because I was hungry. But anyhow, we had a great crowd, a lot of people there to thank. Pittsburgh Passion. I can't name all of you. You can see them on Facebook with the Hugathon Facebook page. Thanks for coming out. We appreciate it. After School Buddy, Susan Brozick Scott puts on a heck of a performance with her kids, the Rainbow Kids. I go on and on. The Hugathon team, they did an excellent job drumming up some good spirits. You can actually see me wandering around with this record-setting Hugathon in a tent there. Our big event, September 6th, it'll be in downtown Pittsburgh, 2:30 to 5:30. Then we'll have a gala event at the Doubletree, up the old Bigelow Hotel. That's some of my promos that I have to at least get in there. I do have some sports on my mind, but we'll save that free report because I've done some more research there. For any of you Penn State fans that wonder why they settled so quickly on this, follow the money. That's what's on my mind.
Thanks, Al. Smoking Jim, what's on your mind?
Hey, thanks, Magic Mike. I want to thank all the young basketball players who came out to the Armin Gilliam Hard Work Basketball Camp last Saturday and Sunday. We had actually 8 kids that came out from the Bethel Park, South Park area, so I appreciate all the kids that came from the South. And tell you what, we had a record number of kids, so we're probably going to move into a bigger venue next year. So I want to thank all the coaches who came out, Jamie Dixon from the University of Pittsburgh, and all the great players, high school and college players who helped out with the young people. I got a question. did Ocho Cinco headbutt his way out of the Hall of Fame? Hey, listen, on draft day, I text over 1,000 people when I got to the Steeler facilities, and I wrote on the board in their war room next to the name of Mike Adams, and I put soft. And the Pittsburgh Steelers went against my will and drafted this bum. And I tell you what, Mike Adams is a 330-pound dope-smoking guinea pig that this experiment is probably going to get their $100 million quarterback killed. You know, this guy gave up 2 sacks, 2 forced fumbles, and got his helmet knocked off all in the process, and then faked the knee injury to bow out of the game. If I was in the National Football League, I would cut this guy right now. He should be sitting at home in his living room with head-button Chad Johnson in the Honey Badger.
Thanks, Jim. You know what? I got that text. Jim did text early in the proceedings that Mike Adams was soft and that the Steelers were unhappy he wrote that on their board. But Mike Adams is soft, and you saw it. Actually, I mean, guys in the NFL like to have nicknames. How about Turnstile? I think that'd be a very good one for you, Mike. What's on my mind? Well, the NFL umpires are on strike. Are you serious? What do these guys do? They run around on a football field, they throw some flags, make some calls. They're upset because the NFL wants them to be full-time employees. I don't know what difference that makes because I don't know what a full-time employed referee does for the entire week until Sunday. So guys, you know what? Maybe be a full-time employee with a lot of time on your hands. Maybe that's something you should consider. What you really should consider is this, okay? The reason the players are unhappy and the reason that the NFL umpires should be worried is because these new replacement umpires are going to come in and they're going to want to do a good job and they're not going to want to miss calls. So all that holding and stuff that you normally get away with on the lines, that might not happen anymore. These guys might call that just to show that they know what they're doing and they know the rule book. The NFL players are very unhappy, especially the offensive linemen. Guys like James Harrison, well, maybe you should be kind of pleased because all those times that people hold you and pull you down and you whine and complain, now you have some referees that will call that. And that was what is on my mind. Well, Jim, you're the NFL guy. You know it all. There's nobody in the world that knows the NFL better than Jim Frazier. Nobody in the world knows college football better than Jim Frazier. We had some excitement at training camp after the Eagles drubbed the Steelers last week. What's up with Santonio Holmes and Ike Taylor?
Well, some more black-on-black crime. Two of my draft picks. Everybody knows in 2003 I drafted for the Steelers. At the time, his name was Ivan Taylor. Now everybody knows him as Ike Taylor. And Antonio Brown was my pick 2 years ago. And I tell you what, man, it's so funny. They're so competitive. And I tell you what, Ike Taylor actually said, I don't know if you guys heard the whole story, but Ike Taylor and Antonio Brown been going at it all training camp. And Ike Taylor told Antonio Brown, you ain't nothing without Mike Wallace. And Antonio Brown said, tell that to Demarius Thomas. So that led to helmets being knocked off, the karate kick and the karate chop and everything else. But, hey, it's all good in the hood, as they say, in Steeler camp right now.
All right, so go back to the Eagles game. What'd you see?
Well, I seen an offensive line who gave up a record-setting, averaging over 50 sacks a year for the last 5 years, and it looks like the offensive line is going to be a problem again. No. Listen, I told you guys 2 years ago that I thought the only player on the team from Florida, from the state of Florida, who's a bum, is Marcus Gilbert, offensive tackle. What does he do? What does this bum do? He's at right tackle. The Steelers got one legitimate fullback on their football team. The guy that everybody's looking for, we've been clamoring for a fullback for how long? Marcus Gilbert gets lifted off his feet from the right side, thrown all the way to the left side, and takes out our fullback who's out for the year with a torn ACL. How does that happen? It happens because you put inferior NFL products out there on the football field. The offensive line stinks. The best play of the whole preseason was Big Ben, who can still improvise, scrambled, and then threw a long pass down the field. Big Ben, if he doesn't get hurt in preseason, Big Ben is going to have to run and scramble for his life if the Pittsburgh Steelers are going to have any kind of success this year.
Well, Jim, they've always said that Roethlisberger's best when he's on the run, and I've always said that they create offensive lines to keep him on the run. So, I think that this year's offensive line may be worse than last year's. I mean, they took Max Starks off the PUP list.
Nice.
So now he's not physically unable to perform. He's just unable to perform. So, that offensive line is not getting any better anytime soon. And when you told them that Adams was soft, they should have listened again. All right. Jim Frazier told him don't draft Alonzo Jackson. He told him take this guy. He told take Ike Taylor, like he just told you. Jim knows more about football than anybody down there in the war room on draft day.
Let me make that unanimous because I have the text. I saved it. I saved that from Smoking Jim Frazier because the next breath he said, I ate my steak already, so if they kick me out now, at least I had a good meal. So I thought he was just having a little fun. Here he was serious because when I talked to him later, he was dead serious. But that seems to be a tradition that we do have in Pittsburgh. We've won Super Bowls with subpar offensive line. So I'm very happy with my 11-5 pick this year and possibly going to the Super Bowl again because of a subpar offensive line. And we'll see what happens with that prediction.
We're all happy with your 11-5 pick, Al.
Thank you.
But it ain't going to happen.
Oh, come on.
Not going to happen. 8-8, maybe. Well, Jim, your running back did a pretty good job. Had a nice little run there. Rainey, I still think he's way too small to be playing in the NFL, but who knows?
Well, not only is he too small to play in the National Football League, but if you watch any of the practices, Mike Tomlin thinks he's too small to practice in the National Football League. Whenever they do anything physical, he has Rainey standing next to him.
How's his blocking? Is he blocking anymore?
Mike Tomlin won't allow him to block, nothing physical in practice. He's a home run hitter. But I tell you what, he took some shots in that game on Saturday. But the one thing that I always thought he'd be another Eric Metcalf. I told you too, if you check out the touchdown run, he never takes the ball out of his right hand, so that could lead to some fumbles. He ran to a touchdown, a long touchdown to the left side, never took the ball out of his right hand and put it on his left-hand side, so that's something that could lead to fumbles. But I tell you what, he won't beg to get in the game anymore. He's on the sideline talking to Todd Haley. I thought maybe they were talking about golf putting, but it was a goal line situation, and Byron Batch was hammered going up the middle several times. So Rainey says, "Put me in, I can score, coach." He ran a sweep to the left. The offensive line failed to block. Big old white boy horse collared him, slammed him to the ground. I thought he was out for the year, man. Everything was hurt.
I did see that. I was just happy to see him get out. So he does have some heart in the Smoking Jim school of having heart to play football, right? But he did take a beating there. But he did catch more yards than he ran for.
Yeah.
So, I mean, that shows me that the bubble screen will be alive this year.
Bubble screen will be alive. And we finally got a running back with some speed that can catch and be like a wide receiver in the backfield. You remember Fast Willie Parker, a.k.a. the tight ends coach of West Virginia Wesleyan now. But Fast Willie Parker's biggest problem, other than having tunnel vision when he ran the football, was that even with all that speed, he had no hands. He had the hands of stone, like Dwight Stone, who used to play for the Steelers back in the day. So Willie Parker had no hands and no abilities in the passing game, which Rainey brings that, and he's not going to block anybody. So if you blitz a linebacker, brother,
look out.
That's it, man.
Well, other question, we had a rumor last week or whatever about Plaxico Burress. What happened there?
Well,
no deal, and they just let him go.
Well, you know, when I got to the show, some of the folks here were telling me that Plaxico was signed, and the media was actually reporting it on the radio as well, and I was excited. But like I told you before, that you know, I didn't think that the Pittsburgh Steelers would sign Plaxico. They were afraid because Plaxico and Big Ben were very good friends, and that they always thought that Plaxico was a bad influence on Ben. They didn't want on Steeler Day to have Snoop Doggy Dogg and Wiz Khalifa on the sidelines. It could be a big party. And with Plaxico Burress, Big Ben seemed to have a liking for African-American women. And a lot of people know once you go black, you never go back. So they didn't want that to happen to Big Ben.
Smoking Jim, you're on fire. Maybe it's because he has a pregnant wife and he has a new degree that he just shined off, and he's studying to get another degree. He wants a master's now.
Well, I tell you what, Big Ben, they need to bring Chad Johnson in here to let Ben know that everything that glitters ain't gold. so maybe that's the best thing, you know, because Chad Johnson's wife really did him a disservice, I tell you that. Stay away from them basketball wives.
Well, look how his record was pretty clean outside of the sport until that headbutt, right?
Well,
just on field he had some issues.
Well, you don't know what their names are. You know, he's from the same Liberty City. You know, he's from Liberty City in Florida.
No, I didn't
That's
know.
the worst ghetto in the country. Everybody talks about Compton. Everybody talks about Harlem. But I'm telling you, I made a wrong turn when I was in Miami to Liberty City, and I tell you what, you go in there, there ain't no way out, brother.
Really?
So I tell you what, that is a bad ghetto. He's from there. Antonio Brown is from Liberty City. So all you folks that like to go to South Beach, don't wander too far away from South Beach, because if you end up in Liberty City, I tell you what, there will be no record of you. And so
Hold it, I want your secret on how you got out. You talked your way out.
Everybody say that Chad Johnson didn't have a record as far as domestic violence, but he did have a record, and he went to anger management when he was in college. So he does have a record. He doesn't have one in the NFL. And a lot of times you can get away with it if you got some money to keep them quiet. Just ask Kobe Bryant, who used to say that Shaq used to pay for the women to stay quiet.
We're getting some good info today.
Quit snitching!
Any more secrets that you can
Don't
tell
be
us there? I mean, not snitching here, but just conversation here.
Well, I mean, what they say about Burris being a bad influence on Roethlisberger may very well be true. I mean, when Plexico was on the team, Ben used to drive his motorcycle with a helmet. Of course, after he left the team, he raped a couple of girls. So, evens out, I guess. But when you're raping a girl in a bathroom, you don't get hurt. You don't miss a game. So, that's preferable, I suppose.
On this show, we cover every aspect of it. And he did hit a car head first, tried to bury his head in the windshield. So
Toughest man this side of Brett Favre.
Just ask him. He'll tell you.
Only thing he hurt was his rotator cuff on that injury.
Well, speaking of his injuries, I didn't notice his foot injury. I watched about 5 minutes of it. Looked like he was moving pretty well. What do you think, Mike? No injury this week?
Well, I don't know. It depends on the headlines.
Who's getting them all?
Exactly. If
You
he's
taught
out
me that.
if he's out of the paper 3 or 4 days, I'm sure he'll be injured. The Ocho Cinco thing reminds you that Terrell Owens is now playing for the Seattle Seahawks, and I think Terrell Owens is the best receiver out there. And I know he's not a Steelers type player because he doesn't have a police record, but I think he would look really good here. And all this stuff going on with Antonio Brown beating up the defense and that kind of thing still makes you wonder, what's Mike Wallace going to do? Mike, don't let your agent jerk you around. Get to camp, do your year, and get signed somewhere else for big money. You're only hurting yourself staying out there. The Steelers obviously don't care. So get in, do your thing, do what you have to do. Try to keep your mouth shut if you can, and go ahead and get paid somewhere else. I think that's your best option right now.
Did you guys hear some of the rumors out of Central Florida that he's coming up maybe in the next week or two? They said that he will come back to camp and try to be there. That was just on some of the news stations. I don't know if it was that fan thing that you listened to, but
No,
you know how reliable they are.
I gotta admit that I'm very rarely have my ear on the Central Florida rumor mill. But if that's what
I
you're
was
saying,
just
we
reaching
gotta
out,
believe
you know.
you. No, that's great.
He might be in the next 2 weeks. And when's camp end? That's what I wondered.
So in the next 2 weeks.
Thank you.
It's so funny how in today's society, you got all these different outlets, and nobody has been able to interview Mike Wallace or his agent. That is crazy. I mean, what do we got to do? Send BET out there to get an exclusive interview on Mike Wallace? Is crazy. The Pittsburgh Steelers is putting out a lot of different rumors and a lot of different things saying that, Mike Wallace was offered $10 million and this, that, and other thing. I would like to hear from his side of the story. So I'm not sure. I hope he comes in and signs because he's a valuable, NFL weapon. When you run a 4.240, you cannot be covered one-on-one deep by the cornerbacks or the safety. He's going to have to stay back and kind of double team you, and it opens up the field for other opportunities.
Do they have
for other
enough
weapons.
time with that line out there, though? With Mike Wallace, they just got to send him straight out there because you only have a couple seconds, right?
Well, that's why you got to, unfortunately, keep one of the best tight ends in football, Heath Miller, who's never going to make the Hall of Fame. because he has to stay in and help the offensive tackles out. He has to stay in and max protect and in terms of blocking. And I tell you what, you have a better chance of outrunning a Jamaican than you ever have of these guys being great on the offensive line, and that's a shame.
Wow. A little boat reference there. You're covering all sports, Smoking Jim. Great insights there.
Yeah, man.
Well, Al brought up the Hall of Fame. Early or late last week, Barry Lamar Bonds did an interview and explained why he believed he should be in the Hall of Fame. I mean, obviously he has the numbers. He's the career home run leader. He, is accused of doing steroids. Has gone to trial. Nothing really proven. He did admit, actually, that he did steroids. Just said that he didn't know what it was at the time. Whether you believe him or not, I guess is up to you. But I guess the question is, does Barry Bonds belong in the Baseball Hall of Fame, and will he get into the Baseball Hall of Fame? Al, what do you think?
I don't think the way you have 24/7 media, they're going to let him get in. Because some of the people, first of all, they didn't like him when he was a superstar before steroids with all his MVPs. I think he had 3 MVPs in the league. People hated him then. He wasn't the greatest person to be around. But like we've talked on the show, it doesn't matter whether you're a good person or not. You don't have to be a role model. What's your statistics? Just with his career before all the steroid, he admitted he was on it, and this clear stuff that he rubbed in, come on now, it's not a vitamin there. I can show you a list of vitamins. There's no clear stuff that you rub on that's a vitamin. So whatever. But after that, he even went and got better. His home runs were even further. His batting average was up there. Nobody does it at that age that long. If they throw out, whether it's illegal or not, you have to put him in. Look at that. Is he as good as Hank Aaron? I doubt it. Could he hit the home run like him? Probably not. But something helped, and other people were doing it, and he wanted to compete with them. So since we can't judge it, look at all these people that vote on it. Maybe after about 2 or 3 years, they'll break down and put him in there. But he's not going to make the first ballot just because of the media now.
Jim, what do you think?
Well, I think it's a doggone shame that Barry Bonds is not being considered as a first ballot Hall of Famer. The guy's a Hall of Famer, one of the greatest baseball players who ever lived. I tell you what, like I said last week, they're not going to take 4 Super Bowls away from the Pittsburgh Steelers because the offensive line were all on steroids in the 70s. Baseball players, there was no drug testing for steroids when Barry Bonds and Mark McGwire and Sammy Sosa and those guys, Canseco was putting up some great numbers. They saved the game of baseball, and I think those guys, if they are Hall of Fame worthy, now me personally, I wouldn't have the Baseball Hall of Fame in my basement. You know, man, I could care less about the Hall of Fame, but some of these guys seem to care about individual honors. I'm a team championship person. If you're not going to put my whole team in the championship, and I don't think Barry Bonds has a championship. That's the only reason why you play the game. But for those that love individual honors, and the Hall of Fame is the highest of the individual honors, I think that Barry Bonds has to go in, or they ought to blow up, the Hall of Fame facilities.
Well, I believe that Barry Bonds, whether or not he has done steroids or knowingly did steroids or whatever, I believe that will be maybe slightly considered when these people vote for the Hall of Fame. As you know, I've always said that there's no way sports writers should be doing the voting. First off, just because somebody writes for a newspaper or hosts a talk show doesn't mean they're know any more than any knowledgeable fan, with the exception of myself and Jim and Al.
Thanks, Mike.
I just threw you in for kicks.
I appreciate it.
But these guys, I mean, they write for a living. That's nice, but that doesn't mean they know enough about anything to be voting on the Hall of Fame. I believe that Some of them may consider the steroids accusations, but mostly they'll cast their votes for one of three reasons. They either didn't like him, which a lot of people didn't. They did like him, which some people did, or they're afraid if they don't vote for him, they'll be called a racist. And I believe that you can laugh, but seriously, you think about
You're
it.
right.
You tell me I'm wrong. I believe Barry Bonds will get in on the first ballot and into the Hall of Fame. And once he's in, that will open up the way for the rest of them. McGwire and Sosa and Clemens and Palmeiro will all get into the Hall of Fame eventually. And that will probably open the door for Pete Rose eventually also. As far as like the writers, again, my argument is always the same. When you look at people like Hank Aaron, who at the time he was up for induction, was the career home run leader, or Nolan Ryan, who had more strikeouts than any other pitcher, and not only that, had 7 no-hitters.
Wow.
Neither one voted in unanimously.
Wow.
Okay, who did not vote for these people to get in? Okay, do they not vote for them because they don't think anybody should be unanimously awarded? To me, that's garbage. If the guy deserves to get in, you vote for him to get in. And if you don't think that Hank Aaron or Nolan Ryan were good enough to be in the Hall of Fame, not only should you not be voting for him, they should drag you out back and beat you to death when it was all over. And another thing, you hear them all, like Al talked about, first ballot Hall of Famers. You hear these people doing a sports talk show, or even calling a baseball game, saying, "Oh, this guy's a Hall of Famer, but he's probably not a first ballot Hall of Famer." What does that mean? I mean, if the guy deserves to be in the Hall of Fame, you vote for him to be into the Hall of Fame. Whether he's a first ballot or second ballot or third ballot, that's all garbage too. Why would you make somebody wait to go in, or possibly die while he's waiting to go into the Hall of Fame, when you know he's good enough to go in? It doesn't matter if it's first or second or third. Put them in at the time that they're eligible if they deserve to be in. That's the way it should always be. And to be honest, like I've said before, the people that should vote for the Hall of Fame are the people that are in the Hall of Fame. The living members of the Hall of Fame should be the ones to vote who's going to join them. I think that Hank Aaron, George Brett, Nolan Ryan, all these guys, I believe that they know who should be enshrined with them. That's my opinion on that.
And you know what, not to change the subject, and I agree with everything that you said, Magic Mike. I forgot to ask Aaron Ward when she was here prior to the show, getting us hooked up, and I'm not sure if you guys know, what is the date today?
Today's date?
Yeah.
August 14th.
Oh, happy birthday, Tim Tebow. It's his 25th birthday today.
I'm a straight guy.
I tell you what, happy birthday to my man, Tim Tebow. I tell you what, the Olympic girl, Lolo Jones, is actually looking for Tim Tebow because she's a virgin and Tim Tebow's a virgin, and she feels they have a lot to talk about, and I agree. But my question to you guys is this. Do you think that Tim Tebow is the modern day Muhammad Ali? Don't forget, if you study history, back in the 60s, Muhammad Ali used to sell out every boxing arena because half the people went to watch him win, half the people went to watch him lose. And it's the same way with Tim Tebow. It seems like 50% of the people love Tim Tebow and 50% of the people hate Tim Tebow. I still compare Tim Tebow to a Hall of Famer, Steve Young, and at 25, Tim Tebow is still further along at 25 than where Steve Young was at the age of 25. Happy birthday, Tim.
I'm glad you got that in. I'm glad I could be your straight guy. I saw that on TV here.
Jim, I've got to disagree with you on a couple of points there. First, if they're both virgins, they ain't got nothing to talk about. And second, Tim Tebow will never be like Muhammad Ali because currently there is no draft to dodge. So
He already got picked up in the draft and he accepted. So that's strike one right there. I hate to agree with Mike on those points, but it's a great point.
Oh.
Yeah, I hate to get onto a downer of a subject, but Al, your dollar is safe. Your Pittsburgh Pirates are on the downward spiral. They're going down the drain fast. And let me tell you what, like I said before, it's because Clint Hurdle is not a major league manager. This guy is personally responsible for two of the losses that they just came up with. Definitely the second game against Arizona, when you put Grilly in and the first two, he gets up 2 hits right away, you get him out of there. Okay, there's no reason in the world that Hanrahan can only pitch in the 9th inning. When they started that rally, when Arizona started that rally, and Pirates were still ahead, they should have brought Hanrahan in to close it off. That's what he's called. He's the closer. That doesn't mean he can only pitch in the 9th inning. If they put him in the 8th inning and he stops that rally, then they go on and win that game. My other example is James McDonald's game against the Padres. That was a total disgrace. How do you sit there leaning on the rail, chewing whatever it is that you're chewing, you slob, and watch this guy give up 6 runs, right? First off, if you looked at McDonald, he expected, no, not only expected, he wanted to come out of that game. After he gave up 3 runs, he was constantly looking over towards the bench, wondering, where are you? Get me out of here, because he just didn't have it anymore. He pitched 4 good innings, and then he went to trash. Basically, he should have been taken out of there after the first 3 batters, but not only then, for sure, after the first 3 runs were scored, and the Pirates were still ahead by 3 runs. Instead, they leave him in there to give up 3 more, and they go on to lose the game 9-8 after having a 7-1 lead. That's just ridiculous. This guy has no idea what he's doing as far as handling the pitchers. I don't know. Maybe he's a nice guy. I'm sure he's a great guy. Whatever. Maybe he is. I don't know. What did they call Collar when he was?
Hall of Fame coach.
Yeah, that's a great motivator. Maybe he's a great motivator.
How did you get that in?
I don't know what he does except lean on the rail, chewing gum, thump, thump, thump. And you know what? In the Burnett game, the camera caught Searage leaning over and saying to something after Burnett put 3 people on, and Hurdle shaking his head no. I would bet my house that what Searage says, maybe it's time to get him out of there. And Burnett went ahead and had a bad game also. This guy, again, you need to know how to handle your pitchers. And let me tell you what, as far as Pirates ownership and the general manager, Coonley, give me a call, because I can stuff bubble gum in my mouth and hang on the rail all game too, and I'll do it for half as much money as you're paying Hurdle.
Only half. I want to be your agent. Let's sign him up. But Mike, you are making a point that I'm starting to see that gut feeling that he keeps pulling out. It's not working right now. Look at what with McDonald. That was a disgrace. I've been saying the kid's arm is tired. Look at this second half. He hasn't been able to get the ball over at times. He had 4 great innings. Yank the guy right out of there if he can't do it. You have plenty of pitchers. Mike, how many times has he brought in 5 different pitchers in a game? All of a sudden he leaves McDonald out there because they're talking about his toughness. They want to see if he can overcome his tired arm, giving up home runs, 2-run homers, and a 3-run homer. Let's see if this kid can stay in there. Well, you just cost yourself another game. This team is not good enough to keep losing games like that. They had 53 games that they were leading, going into after the 7th inning that they won. Now they've lost a couple because of boneheaded plays like this. And the whole organization's at fault, from Clint Hurdle all the way down. You know, you're going to be a motivator. The players aren't playing up to that level. You can't motivate somebody when they can't get the ball over the plate, or they throw lollipops up there for them to hit them out of the ballpark. And my dollar, I think, is still safe. I think they can make the wild card. Somehow they'll right this ship, because these guys have a lot of heart and they keep playing. So we will see what happens shortly.
Well, they may keep playing, and I hate to disagree with you, but this team is exactly good enough to keep losing games. I would be surprised if the Dodgers don't sweep them. I will be really surprised if they make that wild card, because St. Louis is on them. The Dodgers are going to get past them, and Atlanta has the other wild card spot pretty much locked up. Pirates, I believe, will finish no better than in 3rd place in the division. They just have a lot of holes. They have a lot of holes, and even their star players like Andrew McCutchen is still keeping a pretty decent batting average, but he's hit like 1 home run since the All-Star game. There's a lot of problems there. They've got a lot of holes that they have to fill. But one thing I will say, as far as a bright spot, is that Marte is looking really, really good. All those people that carried on about trading him for this guy or trading him for that guy, they should be in hiding right now, because Shane Victorino or Justin Upton, none of them are as good as what Marte will be.
And how many games over 500 are the Pirates right now?
I thought they were 13 over.
Right now, of course, what time is it?
It's not game time.
Well,
They
then they're still probably 13 over.
Nobody's
500.
reporting what happened. No, but they are starting to wobble a little here. We know that. But for Chip out there, I'm still on the bandwagon with you there, Chip. So we'll try to keep supporting you here on this show for it. I hate to lose the dollar towards you, but it's waiting here in the pocket.
And I'm still on record as saying, if the Pittsburgh Pirates, after 19 seasons, finish over 500, there should be a parade in their honor in this great Steel City.
I absolutely disagree. Anytime that a team's goal is to be 500, well, you know they're losers. If your goal is not to win the World Series, your team shouldn't be on the field.
Well, we're not talking Smoking Jim's favorite sport and some of his favorite players. I have to disagree with him also. That my feeling, like I've stated numerous times, if they don't make the playoffs or wild card this year, since they added one after the way they got us all excited and played some very good ball, then it's a disappointing season, even if they finish one game over 500, in my eyes.
Well, thanks, Al.
It's my opinion. That's what we're here for. And you're welcome.
Have a parade with McDonald leading the band.
He couldn't raise his arm up to get him going. Here would be his arms. You know how you talk about those alligator arms? Here's McDonald waving to the crowd because his arm is shot right now. Just like some of these other players. Look at Alvarez on some of his moves. How do you run in front of the shortstop and almost have a collision? Oh my! Now he's hustling all of a sudden. So, but at least he's hitting about 230 right now. So those are some bright spots.
Now, who's the guy that the Pirates sent down to AAA or to the minor leagues?
Tabata.
I heard he's on fire now.
There's no room up here because you can hit minor league pitchers like you guys have told me. That's why, God forbid, if you send Alvarez down there, he'll have 100 home runs and they'll keep him there. Great point, Smoking Jim.
Well, I'll go on record right now saying that the next Pittsburgh team that has a parade in their honor will be the Penguins. And speaking of the NHL, last week we told you about the owner's offer as far as the collective bargaining agreement. They put that out. Today the Players Union responded. Donald Fair, who used to be the Players Union leader for the Major League Baseball players, is now for the NHL Players Union. And his offer to the owners was just about as ridiculous as the owners' offer was to them. So it looks like we're in for a long, dragged-out fight between the NHL owners and the NHL players. I would really like to see hockey October 12th, but it doesn't look good.
I might take a dollar bet on that there's no hockey season starting October 12th. They'll have a strike or a lockout. There's no doubt. They're polarizing their positions. This is more than just negotiating. They're on an agenda, both the players and the team. That's why they hired that Fair to come up there. Look what he did with Major League Baseball. So
Ruined it,
yes.
basically. Yeah, there's a little bit of trouble there. I think it's unfortunate too, because the work stoppage a few years ago was actually very good for the NHL. When they came back, there was parity. Just about every team had a fair opportunity to be involved with the playoffs, and you've seen a lot of interchange as far as which teams make it, which teams don't every year, and a lot of new teams made the playoffs and such. But this time around, they can't afford a work stoppage. I think that they will lose all the audience that they gained since then if they have a work stoppage. Some of the sticking points, I guess they're upset over Well, the biggest one is the amount of revenue that the owners want to give to the players. And then there's some petty stuff in there, like whether or not they're going to be able to play in the Olympics and things like that. But they've got a lot of work to do in order to keep, in order to get it together to have a season this year, or to start the season on time at least.
It'll be modeled after the NBA season, is what I see. You got all this money. Look at the NFL; they bring in $9 billion a year, and look how you talked about referees. Look how they're treating the referees. Who cares if it costs them $10 or $15 million? They've had these referees, and they got all these instant replays that you do on almost everything. Smoking Jim can go in all the details, from fumbles to touchdowns in the end zone, and whatever else might be controversial. And then you have hockey, which is, like Mike said, it's been coming on like gangbusters. The owners should realize that they should get a compromise. The players know they're not going to get the larger percentage of revenue for much longer, or whatever they're trying to do. Cooler heads should prevail, but they won't. You got billions of dollars.
I don't know. I think the NBA is a little bit different because these guys sign huge contracts, and if you had my name on a $100 million contract, you would have to send the Marines in to get me off of the court. I would never leave. I don't care if the rest of the league went on strike, I'd be there to play. That's just me. I like hundreds of millions of dollars.
Well, maybe you can go out for hockey now and be one of the strike breakers that they try to hire. I'm sure they're going to try to do something like that. Put on a subpar product there, and
hey, I'll play.
There you go.
Not well, but I'll play.
Anybody have $1 million for Mike Migliore? What position, Mike?
Whichever pays the best.
Anything on the ice.
Well, I tell you what, those of you that have that $1 million that want to invest in Magic Mike, I tell you what, it'd be a good investment. And you can bring it to level 20 on Monday at 7:30. We'll be over there with another great show.
Bring it in unmarked small bills.
Well, better yet, invest in his filmmaking, all right? So then we can all make some money with this group that he puts together. Do it with his filmmaking there, and don't put him on the ice.
I wonder how his movie did, Magic Mike. How did it do at the box office?
Alexis is actually still in post-production.
You're a great
Your
promo.
business partner, Aaron Ward, is cleaning up some of the sound, and after that, we'll see. We do have a couple of distribution companies that are interested in it. Speaking of the Level 20 Lounge, as you were, this upcoming Monday, we will be there starting at 7:30. Actually, come on by a little bit early, and we can get a chance to talk before the show. We may even bring you up onto the show to give your opinion on a couple of ideas. We will be joined on Monday by Claudio Lozano, who is very knowledgeable about baseball. I'm sure it'll be a great conversations between him and Chip. He's a guy that Jim and I have worked with a lot. We will also be joined by the beautiful Janae Barlow.
Woo!
Jim, you know a little bit of Janae's history. Tell us a little bit about Janae.
The one great thing about Janae is she comes from great pedigree. Is that a word? I'm trying to use some bigger words. I was in the dictionary earlier, but
I'm glad you're up to the P words.
Her cousin is Kevin Barlow, and Kevin Barlow was a great player for the University of Pittsburgh, San Francisco 49ers.
So she's a running back?
Well, and her brother, Jay Barlow, was this past. He was all-state in football for Alderdice, and he was the City League Defensive Player of the Year this year. And Janae is just a beautiful girl, inside and outside. One of the most intelligent people I've ever met. She's of mathematical major in college, and she's just beautiful on the inside and outside. And she's very, very smart because she loves Magic Mike, and how can you go wrong there?
I kind of agree with that. Janae's probably one of the better models that I've ever worked with. Also, I think that if you guys come on out, you'll enjoy meeting her, enjoy hearing what she has to say. Overall, I think just a very great show that we have lined up for this upcoming Monday at the Level 20 Lounge. So come on out and meet us there.
And just to clarify this, we're going to try to do 3 shows at least a month. The second Monday of each month, we don't have cameras to put on a show at level 20. So I just want to make that clear. If you get all excited and come out to a show the first week of the month, we won't be there on a second show. We heard there were some people hanging around for Magic Mike and Smoking Jim Frazier. So hopefully Chief and Luke and Pittsburgh Passion football team wasn't there just waiting for these two gentlemen, because I was promoting the heck out of them this past weekend.
Well,
so
the people that were waiting for us probably had subpoenas in their pockets anyway. So yeah, we didn't miss anything.
Well, we're not having Cedric Wilson on the show.
are you sure?
Yeah, day's not over.
It's still young. You can call 412-831-3304. Get your reservation. We'll get you some front row seats. All you got to do is wave your hand a little bit. Magic Mike will ask what's on your mind, and we'll get a little interview out there.
That's right. You never know who might show up. Last time some guy was there trying to sell some sports memorabilia. So
Yeah.
in his Babe Ruth or Rabbit Moranville program with Babe Ruth's
Darn, you
autograph.
stole my thunder with that, Babe Ruth.
That's why.
First streak. He
That's-
broke my streak, folks.
That's why
I've
I
said
went there.
Babe Ruth almost every show until this one.
That's
did I
why
say
I
that?
went there and heard, hold on.
Did I say that?
I'm going to do you one more time. Emperor, they're pieces of meat, right? Okay, and we got all that out of here.
Hold it, wait. What about a sports writer?
I already told you there's nothing worse than a sports writer with nothing
Darn,
to
I
write.
forgot that.
But
Have some fun with us. Come on out. You don't have to call in tonight. Watch us on YouTube. Be at level 20 there.
and let's complete the home run grand slam. Is that this weekend begins high school football scrimmages, and if you guys can get to the scrimmages, 2 scrimmages next weekend on Friday, August 31st, do yourself a favor and come out and see this Gateway Gator football team this year.
Is it a home game?
This may be the greatest football team I've ever seen, and that's saying something because North Hills one year won the mythical national championship. They was ranked number 1, and Gateway was ranked number 3 in the country one year. And I tell you what, I think this team may be better than both of those teams. So come on out. Don't forget the University of Pittsburgh behind Sinceri is going to be competing this year, and Penn State and West Virginia will soon be playing as well. So football's alive and well in southwestern Pennsylvania and all over the country.
Jim, tell us a little bit about the Gateway team. Some of the players you think are standouts.
Well, the one good thing is Gateway has a quarterback. He's a black quarterback, so
Never mind that.
could be a wide receiver in college, but he's a black quarterback. A lot of people compare him to a guy that used to play for West Virginia University, Pat White. He already received a full football scholarship to Arizona. Don't forget, Rich Rodriguez is the head coach of Arizona. Wow. They have a tight end wide receiver named Jamar Parrish, who's already signed with the University of Pittsburgh. So on this team alone, it could be 7 Division I scholarships given out the Gateway. Unfortunately, right now we're in a little bit of a battle. A young man, Rogers, an all-state junior wide receiver from Keystone Oaks, who happened to transfer to Gateway, the Monroeville area.
His parents just moved there.
His parents happened to move, but the WPIL right now has him ruled ineligible. So we're taking it to the PIAA, and I'm sure the PIAA, with a little bit of reason, will overturn that, and he'll be available game 1. So come out and see Rogers. If you liked him at Keystone Oaks, you're going to love him at Gateway.
And thanks for mentioning my alma mater there. I appreciate it.
We tried to recruit you, but your daddy wouldn't let you go.
That was too long ago. We didn't want to move out east.
You wasn't willing to take the steroids.
Nah. I thought they were vitamins in a bowl. Weren't they?
And is it true that this is Terry Smith's last season as head coach there?
Well, it would have been, but Smoking Jim joined the fight, and
Nice.
I get in the fight to win. So Terry Smith on paper, if you're betting, odds in Las Vegas is about 90-1 that this is his last year. But I'm in the fight now, so I'm going to switch the tables. I will guarantee, now that I'm involved in this, I will guarantee that Terry Smith will not only coach this year, but he'll definitely coach next year.
Well,
By any means necessary.
I believe he'll coach next year. The question is,
To the Gateway.
where will he coach next year?
Come on.
He'll be coaching the Gateway Gators next year, who next year's team may be even better than this state championship team this year.
What kind of Kool-Aid are you drinking from Gateway there? It must be good stuff.
Well, I'm making a lot of calls I'm trying to get the little Bambino in. The little Bambino in. The little Bambino.
Little
you
Nick?
ever see shoulders on
Nah.
a kid like that? So
At 12 years old.
I've already talked to his dad and already found a apartment.
I have-
a vacant apartment.
Hold
for his
on.
whole
I have his
family to
phone
move
number
in.
on speed dial for you. We can call Vinny right now. We won't even have to talk about Babe Ruth and Robert Marinville.
Matter of fact, once he sells on eBay or whatever, he sells that autograph of Babe Ruth, he may even be able to buy his house in Monroeville.
Well, have Terry talk to him. Have him give him a call. He might buy a whole complex.
I do all the calling.
Okay.
We want to keep Terry's hands clean.
Sorry to misspeak like that. I understand. Well, I wish you the best of luck on that.
I'm going to be recruiting in Bethel Park as well.
You heard that
Some
right
great
now.
football players come out of Bethel Park and wrestlers.
I don't know how good the Gateway football team is. I'm sure they'll go most of the way like they usually do. But I do know that Terry Smith is one of the finest football coaches that has ever been in this area, much like one of his predecessors. With Pete Anamarino, who was another great football coach. Terry Smith did amazing things for Gateway's program, turned it around. He had gone for a few years doing absolutely nothing, and he turned that program around. Now they've always got a contending football team, and not only that, he probably helped a lot of those students become better people, and got them a lot of good opportunities as far as after leaving Gateway. It is just a ridiculous error to let this guy go and to try to force him to do one thing and not to coach football. What I can tell you about Terry Smith is that if you would flip that light switch over there and fire him, he would have another job before the room got dark.
It's true.
He is going to when they get rid of him there, if they get rid of him there, he will have another job immediately, and he will turn around another football program.
And don't forget, as athletic director, Gateway's never been very good in basketball. They won back-to-back WPIL championships, and something that I didn't know, maybe you guys knew, brothers can hoop. So
When did you find that out?
Gateway discovered that and won back-to-back championships. So Terry's also doing a great job as athletic director, and I agree with you, Magic.
Hold it. You got to say one more thing. What about the women's basketball team?
The women's basketball
Right?
team.
You told me they were up and coming.
The women's basketball team, I'm not sure how up and coming they are, but a young lady transferred in from the eastern part of the state, Destiny Brown. She happens to be the goddaughter of Rip Hamilton from the NBA, and she comes from
That's a great pedigree.
Yeah, she comes from Coatesville, PA, and she transferred into Gateway and just happened to be the best player in the state, one of the best players in the country, and she got a full scholarship and expect to play as a true freshman at Baylor, who is the defending national champ. And Baylor has the only woman in college basketball that can slam dunk, Candace Parker. So tune in for Destiny Brown to do her
Women's
thing
basketball
at Baylor.
from Smoking
Go
Jim
Gateway!
Well, I'll tell you, there were
Unbelievable.
in the late 1800s, there were a lot of secret or hidden passages and pathways and stuff that they called the Underground Railroad to bring escaped slaves from the south to the north. Well, I know for a fact that there is a tunnel from Bucks County to bring athletes to Monroeville. I don't know what they call that.
They call it the Gateway Express.
I
That's
call
what it is.
Monroeville God's country, man. Once you visit Monroeville, you never want to leave.
And you can watch our show in Monroeville, too.
You call home, Mama, I ain't never coming home.
More fiction and fact from Smoking Jim's Almanac. How's that?
I like that.
You can steal that one for you. I'll be your PR guy there. You come up with some winners there.
Jim, earlier you mentioned Muhammad Ali. I don't want to really go into that anymore, but you do have a boxing show coming up, don't you?
Well, we had a boxing show coming up, yeah.
What happened? You were giving out a date before, and all of a sudden...
Rod Salka couldn't find any paraplegics to fight.
Well, I just want to know on your basketball camp, and I'm trying not to make too much fun of it, but did you get any video of the camp? Because I want to see some video. Were there any people with cameras there? Because you're a great PR guy. I want to see some of this on film here.
I'll have to email you a copy.
Okay, because you know I send you stuff all the time. When this show hits YouTube, you get it almost instantly. You and Chip's friend Mike Vint. So shout out to Mike Vint and Angela there. We'll get you some of this show. Since you're watching it live, we'll send it to you. And Mike would love to film some of this stuff that Smoking Jim's doing,
Well,
right?
I would, but Jim does his stuff with Bill Neal, and Bill uses Ken Ogilvy for all his video work. And Ken Ogilvy is into like experimental stuff. He likes to set up his cameras without film. And therefore,
You can't be serious. I saw him filming.
you very rarely see the video that he shot because it's very experimental, and sometimes it just doesn't work out that way, right, Ken? But obviously we're winding down here. Once again, we'll be at the Level 20 on Monday. We'll be back here next Tuesday. Love to see you or hear from you. Al's got an event coming up, the Hug-a-thon on the 6th
September
of September.
6th. We'll have a lot of people. We're going to have some Steelers. They're talking to a few Steelers like J.T. Thomas and Randy Grossman. Franco Harris, if you look on my Facebook page, we may get Franco there. You saw he gave me a hug for the Hug-a-thon. So you got to check that out. We have a lot of good things trying to fundraise for Sickle Cell Society, Cancer Caring Centers, Operation Troop Appreciation, and the Passion for Life Foundation. Don't forget, you have the Pittsburgh Passion football team there. They showed up in force on Saturday the other day, and it was a great turnout there.
Did you say Franco gave you a hug?
Yeah.
So I knew about Cordell, but I would have never.
This was here. I wanted to clarify something for you.
You do that.
Shenley Plaza, under the tent, is right underneath the Cathedral of Learning. It's not deep into the dark caverns of Shenley Park.
Well,
it's
that's
the
good
plaza.
because I guarantee you there were more people hugging in the woods at Shenley Park than there were under your tent.
Well, we were in the plaza, folks, just officially. Level 20, $7 burger special. They got beer specials in a bucket. Let Mike wrap the show up, folks.
Yeah, thanks for tuning in, and again, we'll see you all next week on Pittsburgh Sportsline.
So you've got a song about where to call for government information?
Check this out. We got the benefits and services that'll make you smile to get the answers you need. Put us on speed dial.
That is gold, Your Honor.
1-800-FIT-INFO.